Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And thank you, Ambassador Sherman and Undersecretary Zubin, for your work. And I think everyone here understands that a nuclear-armed Iran threatens the United States, threatens Israel, threatens the entire world. The question now before Congress, and the only question before Congress, is whether the nuclear agreement negotiated alongside other countries represents our best available option for preventing Iran from acquiring a nuclear weapon. So I want to see if we can just pull some of these pieces together and evaluate the options. What happens if we go forward with this deal versus what happens if we back out? Let's start with the tough sanctions imposed by the United States with the cooperation of other countries around the world, such as the UK, France, China, Russia, Germany, the EU. If we reject this deal, we need our international partners to continue the tough sanctions, refuse to trade with Iran, block Iran's access to the frozen assets in order to be effective. So, Ambassador Sherman, if we walk away, do you believe that all the other nations that have endorsed this deal are likely to continue working with us to impose strong sanctions against Iran?
No, because as Acting Undersecretary Zubin said, the reason they cooperated was because we were pursuing a diplomatic solution and they thought that was worth trying to accomplish. That has now been accomplished, so they believe it was worth taking the economic hits they all did to do that. But if we walk away from what they consider to be a good deal, 90 countries have spoken out in support of that deal, they will believe that we have changed the equation, we have not operated in good faith, and we are on our own.
All right, so let's look at what happens if we're on our own. If the United States attempts to continue sanctions on our own while other nations resume trade with Iran, how effective will our sanctions likely be?
They'll be less effective than they are today and that they were when we negotiated this agreement.
All right, so thank you. Let's now consider the roughly $50 billion of Iran's money that's frozen and could be granted to Iran as part of sanctions relief if Iran complies with the deal. Undersecretary Zubin, let me ask, is most or even a very significant part of this $50 billion held in the United States?
No.
So if we walk away, do you believe that the other countries that hold this money will continue to keep it out of Iran's hands?
I think we'll begin to see those funds be released if Iran stays and starts meeting its commitments under the deal.
All right. But the question I ask is, if we walk away from the deal, are you convinced that other countries that hold these funds are going to continue to withhold those funds from Iran?
I can't guarantee you that they will.
All right. So let's talk next about Iran's nuclear weapons ambitions. Ambassador Sherman, if we reject this deal and Iran decides to build nuclear weapons, what would be Iran's breakout time? That is, how long do you estimate it would take Iran to produce enough material for a nuclear weapon?
The assessment today is 2 to 3 months.
Okay, 2 to 3 months. And if we accept this deal, and if Iran complies with it, what would be Iran's breakout time?
At least for 10 years, 1 year.
All right, okay. Now, let's next think about cheating. Iran may sign the deal and then try to develop a nuclear bomb anyway. So, Ambassador Sherman, will it be easier for us or harder for us to detect a secret Iranian nuclear weapons program if we accept the deal or if we reject the deal?
Clearly, if we accept the deal, we will have many more eyes on the IAEA. Not only will have access to the declared sites Natanz, Fordo, Iraq, but they will also have surveillance over uranium, the entire supply chain through the procurement channel. They will have eyes on centrifuge production. They will have access to undeclared sites, that is suspicious sites, if they believe there is a justification to get in. Much of that, most of that, nearly all of that will disappear if there is no deal.
All right, and then I just have one more question on this. Let's talk about war. I don't think Americans want to be dragged into another war in the Middle East, but let's face hard facts. If we reject this deal, Iran's breakout time will go down, and that will increase the pressure to take military action very soon. So what I want to compare here is the effectiveness of these two options, a negotiated option versus a military option, in the long term, which action is likely to be more effective at preventing Iran from developing a nuclear bomb? Accept the agreement and closely monitor Iran's nuclear program, or reject the agreement and, if there's escalation, bomb Iran? Which one's more likely to be effective?
Clearly, a long-term negotiated solution, which is what we have in the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, is more effective, because if we take military action, which the President of the United States will do if he has absolutely no choice, indeed will only set back their program, it's estimated by the intelligence community, 2 to 3 years, because Iran has the know-how. They have mastered the entire fuel cycle to create fissile material for a nuclear weapon. And so therefore, although we could bomb away their facilities, they could reconstruct them. You cannot bomb away knowledge, you cannot sanction away knowledge. The only way to control it is a negotiated solution that is intrusively and highly monitored and verified. That is what we have negotiated.
Thank you. You know, some have said that they want a better deal, but that is not the choice that Congress faces. The deal is the deal, and Congress has two choices: accept it or reject it. No one can say for certain that this deal will prevent a nuclear-armed Iran, and I won't say it. But no one has put a better, more realistic alternative on the table, and until I hear a better option, I intend to support this deal. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.